It's your boy Deezy. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment on this video. Hit the like button. We climbing. We almost at 800. So help your boy build the channel. And we coming. Now, when the youngins is out in the street, right? They looking at it like they don't care. They don't give a fuck. But when it all hits the fan, it just doesn't seem to amaze me how everybody gets manners. Everybody's saying, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. It doesn't seem to amaze me. And in this situation here, people's life is on the line, man. Thug, it's not looking good for Thug. It ain't looking good for Thug, man. People hope that he beats it and hope that he comes off in the situation. But it's too much evidence against him. And we understand that the people don't have all their things in order. And the prosecutors are, fumbling through things. But they have overwhelming evidence against Thug. Thug might have a chance on the appeal, but the picture is painted to the public as Thug's a menace. You got this rich guy that took his financial stability success for granted. He took it for granted. That's just bottom line. You know what I mean? And I like some of his music. I'm sure others like some of his music, a lot of his music. But he took his financial success for granted after coming from the bottom. When you come from zero and you make it to a point where you are above everything around you, you got to value that. If you don't value that, you will have a moment to make you recognize that you're gifted. You have the ability to be above the norm. The norm is for everybody to struggle. Live check to make it. And sometimes the check that you get might be too late. Sometimes you don't get the chance to fix it. And there's plenty of people that been at that level that made bad choices and didn't get a chance to fix it. And when you don't get a chance to fix it, you got to eat what comes with it. That's just what it is. You got to eat what comes with it. And in this situation, Thug has to eat what comes with it. It's like you made poor decisions knowing that you had a lot of influence, and now it's coming back to crush you. And now you don't have the drugs you was taking. You don't have the influence that you had. You don't have the ability to make things happen like you would. They take your freedom and break you all the way down. So this is for up and coming people. If you get the opportunity to be in a situation where as though you feel you have power, don't think you can't lose it, because you can. The things that go up can come down. So you got to value it. And I'm going to play this court proceeding where one of the co-defendants took a plea, and the plea took, I think, if I'm not misunderstanding, was like a 5 to 10 year plea. He took a plea to everything that he was charged with, but they gave him probation on a few things. They gave him time on a few things, and they gave him some consecutive time on a few things. And for those who don't know what consecutive is, that means you have to do the time after you already have time for something else. So, and some of the things that he got probation for, he got it ran concurrent. So that's going to run with the time that he already has. But he took this plea right before the trial started. The evidence was overwhelming against him. It's like, when you know you done, you done. And he understands that it's no way to beat the charges. And it says in here that he didn't take a plea to cooperate. Out of all the people that took pleas against Thug when they said that this is a YSL, was a gang, his plea didn't identify as these things. His plea, the judge specifically said that the prosecutors are not going to call you to testify, but if someone else calls you to testify, you got to be truthful. So he didn't take the plea where it says YSL is a gang, you knew YSL was a gang and all that. But what he did do is, it's like people out here, they go hard and they terrorize things and they put themselves in all these crazy situations and they want to be so gangster. And he's only 23 and you want to be so gangster. But when you get in front of these people, you say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. And it's like, if you would apply these things to your daily life, then maybe you wouldn't be out here trying to terrorize everything. And it's like, these people that are in this YSL indictment, they wasn't even trying to get no money. This whole indictment was about terrorizing stuff. This indictment wasn't about nobody trying to get no money. The only person that was getting to the bag was Young Thug. So when you really look at it, how stupid are they? Everybody else was the crash dummies, and Young Thug was the person that was sending them on the crash dummy mission, and he already had all the money. Nobody was on a money mission. It makes no sense for you to go out here and destroy your whole life, create violence, and then you're not even getting no money. But I want y'all to check this video out, man. For all the youngins coming up, you got to watch what you're doing, man, and watch who you surround yourself around. People will send you on a straight crash course. Especially when he got all the money. It was just dumb. Man, check this out, man. We're going to get right to this.
Please raise your right hand.
I'm right now.
Mr. Beaver, you can please state your true and correct legal name.
Say it again.
Can you please state your true and correct legal name?
Durante PV.
And are you the same person referred to on the indictment you just signed of 22 SC 183572? Did you just sign that indictment?
Yes.
Okay. Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No, ma'am.
How old are you?
23.
And how far did you go in school?
I went far.
What's that mean?
Like 12.
You went to 12th grade?
Mm-hmm.
Did you graduate?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
I mean, yes.
Okay. Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes.
With respect to indictment 22 SC 183572, how do you plead to conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organization Act? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
How do you plead to theft by receiving stolen property? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
How do you plead to violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act in count 9? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
How do you plead to violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act as to count 10? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
How do you plead to possession of a firearm by a convicted felon?
Guilty.
How do you plead to participation in criminal street gang activity?
Guilty.
How do you plead to armed robbery reduced to robbery by force?
Guilty.
How do you plead to hijacking a motor vehicle in the first degree?
Guilty.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with a full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes.
Do you understand that you have only a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes.
Do you understand that you have only 4 years from today's date for the felony charges to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this guilty plea?
Yes.
Your Honor, had this case proceeded to trial, the state of Georgia would have proved beyond a reasonable doubt that in late 2012, within the Cleveland Avenue area of Atlanta, Georgia,
Yeah, it's like it's crazy, man. Play yourself, just trick yourself off the streets.
that YSL, who claimed affiliation with the National Blood Gang, was formed. The founders of that organization were Jeffrey Williams, also known as Young Thug, also known as Slime, Walter Murphy, also known as DK, and Trontavia Stevens, also known as Tick or Slug. That this organization uses a number of different identifiers, including colors, clothing, tattoos, and hand signs in order to show affiliation with that organization. That this organization is part of the enterprise, which is Young Slime Life, and that this defendant was a member of this enterprise and conspired to and associate together with others for the common purposes of illegally obtaining money and property through a pattern of racketeering activity and conducting and participating in the enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. In furtherance of the conspiracy, he engaged in a number of different crimes. Specifically, Your Honor, 2 of those crimes in racketeering activity, first being one occurring on May 8th, 2012 at 151 Cleveland Avenue, which is in southwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30315, which is an Exxon gas station in what is known to be the Young Slime Life gang territory. That Mr. BB was a part of an undercover sting operation at that gas station. Officer Applewhite, APPLEWHAITE, was operating in an undercover capacity. He went inside of the gas station and encountered the defendant. Officer Applewhite asked to purchase marijuana. The defendant asked how much. How much marijuana? Officer Applewhite advised he wanted $20 worth. The defendant then went into the area of the store, weighed up the marijuana, and gave that marijuana to Officer Applewhite. Once the sale was completed, other officers came in and placed Mr. BB under arrest. When they placed him under arrest, he was found with marijuana on his person as well as a gun. The gun was then ran and it came back stolen out of East Point Police Department from a car break-in in August of 2019. Additionally, Your Honor, about a year and 6 months later, in October 12th of 2021, this defendant, along with co-conspirator Christian Eppinger, were at 47 Cleveland Avenue, southwest Atlanta, Georgia, which is also in the Young Slime Life gang territory. While there, the victim, Mr. Darius Smith, was at that location, which is a park next to a library. Mr. Smith was speaking with a friend of his, and while speaking with that friend, there were 2 black males described. One had a blue and black ski mask with a black and silver handgun. The other suspect had a black ski mask with a black handgun. They approached Mr. Smith and stated to him, "Give up that chain." Mr. Smith had a large chain that was very identifiable. That chain was a diamond encrusted chain that looked like a house and said Trap Commander on it. They also took additional jewelry and other items from Mr. Smith, to include earrings, a diamond and gold necklace, 2 iPhones, his car keys. They then went and jumped inside of his vehicle, which was a 2003 GMC Savannah. They then fled the location after robbing him. Again, both of the individuals had guns. Mr. Smith initially called 911. He had left the location. A friend was able to take him to his brother's house, which was in Clayton County. When he called 911 in Clayton County, they advised he had to come back to the city of Atlanta. He did come back to the city of Atlanta and was able to encounter police, where he reported what happened to him a few hours earlier. During his time in explaining to the police what happened, he gave a description of one of the defendants. He said that he knew or was familiar with one of the defendants from the neighborhood. Although he had a ski mask on, he noticed 2 things: his eyes as well as his hands, and that he was missing a finger. After that, Mr. Smith was able to provide to law enforcement officers social media pages of first Durante Beebe wearing his chain and identifying him as the person with the missing finger that had robbed him. Mr. Beebe was on social media promoting the chain, having the chain, some would say flossing the chain in front of the camera, which was the chain that was stolen from him. Further investigation into social media, the officers were able to identify the co-defendant, Christian Eppinger, as the other person who robbed him. Officers were also able to get the social media information from Instagram, and they actually found on Instagram a recording of Christian Eppinger bragging about robbing Darius Smith that was turned over in discovery. After arrest warrants were taken out, Mr. Beebe was arrested, interesting enough, back at that same location in November of.
I mean, listen.
It's crazy though. They put themselves in a situation where as though you got things going on and you just crush yourself. Young Thug was just stupid for sending these young boys on a dummy mission, man.
One at the same 47 Cleveland Avenue, where he was arrested, arrested on these charges, and then Christian Eppinger was arrested subsequently on these charges in February of 2022 after he shot Officer David Rogers. Additionally, Your Honor, we have social media postings of Mr. Beebe and Mr. Eppinger that are a part of our overt acts in this indictment, which shows them being part of and associated with the conspiracy. Mr. Beebe in Act 143 of count 1 of our indictment is posting a picture along with co-conspirator Christian Eppinger wearing what we call an OTS sweatshirt, which is only the slime sweatshirt and sweatpants, again showing his association with the enterprise and the fact that he's acting in furtherance of this enterprise and to promote this enterprise, Your Honor. This is some of the evidence that the state would intend to show if this case were to move forward with trial, Your Honor.
Mr. Beebe, good afternoon, sir. Sir, did you have the opportunity to fully discuss the facts and circumstances of this case and the matters in indictment 21 SC 177912 and 23 CP 218502 with your attorney, Mr. Partridge, to your satisfaction?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any questions about any of the rights that you give up by entering a guilty plea in this case? Those rights were set forth on the record by Ms. Simone Hilton from the District Attorney's Office. Do you have any questions about those rights you wish to ask me?
No, sir.
Did you give this plea, did you have a chance to also read and sign the indictment that I'm holding up here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you have any questions about the indictment as it pertains to you in counts 1, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 27, or 28 you want to ask me?
No, sir.
All right, I don't know if the indictment's been signed, the plea has been entered. Mr. Beebe, based upon the responses that you've given during the court's inquiry, I'm going to find that your guilty plea is freely and voluntarily entered. I find a factual basis for your plea, and I'm going to accept your plea as tendered and as negotiated. So as to count 1, conspiracy to violate the Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations Act, this court will sentence you in accordance with your negotiated plea to 10 years to serve 5 years with the balance probated. As to count 8, theft by receiving stolen property felony, this court will sentence you in accordance with the negotiated plea to 2 years commuted time served concurrent with count 1. As it pertains to count 9, violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, this court will sentence you to 2 years commuted to the time you've already served concurrent to count 1. Did I say count 8 correctly? Count 8 is theft by receiving stolen property.
Yes.
All right, okay, let me just redo that one again. That's theft by receiving stolen property firearm. The court will sentence you to, that's count 8, 2 years commuted to time served concurrent with count 1. We go back through count 9, that's a violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. That's 2 years commuted to the time you've already served concurrent with count 1. As it pertains to count 10, violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, this court will sentence you to 2 years commuted to time served concurrent with count 1. As it pertains to count 11, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, this court will sentence you to 5 years to serve concurrent with count 1. Count 12, participation in criminal street gang activity, this court will sentence you to 5 years consecutive to count 1. And on count 27, armed robbery, this court will follow the recommendation, and on reduction to robbery by force, will sentence you to 10 years to serve 5 years with a balance on probation. As it pertains to count 28, hijacking a motor vehicle in the first degree, this court will sentence you to 10 years to serve 5 years concurrent to count 1 with a balance on probation. The special, I'll also give you credit toward the sentence that has been, or is going to be adjudged from November the 17th of 2021 toward the adjudicated time that you may have to serve on a couple of these counts. The state has also acknowledged that they're going to pull or withdraw the recidivist notice, so that you will be eligible at some point in time at the discretion of the Department of Corrections, as we mentioned, to be parole eligible. I don't know when that will be. I'm just going to tell you that because that's their exclusive purview. But at some point in time, by withdrawing that notice, they will be able to consider you for parole, okay? All right, special conditions of your sentence are as follows. You shall abide by each and every and all terms of the negotiated plea. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you're called to testify by any party in this case, the state's not going to call you, but if any of the other parties call you, you have to testify truthfully, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. You can't possess any guns unless and until your right to do so is restored. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. You cannot commit any criminal acts. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You can't promote or allude to YSL in public on any social media platform. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And failure to abide by any special condition of probation shall result in a revocation. That means you'll come back before myself or another judge to determine whether or not you
Jolie.
Hey, man. I'm going to explain the sentence in a second, but he definitely got he got a dime to do.
condition your probation. So it will subject you to a revocation, and if that revocation is proven, the state's telling you that they're going to ask that any remaining portion be revoked. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. You also acknowledge the fact that you've given up your Fifth Amendment right related to any statement contained within the defendant's factual acknowledgments, which is a separate document which you are going to sign. You understand that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Mr. Beebe's explained that to you? Mr. Partridge explained that to you to your satisfaction?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. And you also agree that you'll make no attempt to assert a Fifth Amendment privilege if you're questioned on these matters. You understand that, right? So,
Yes, sir.
yeah, so if you're called later, if it's something you have to testify to, you'll have to testify in accordance with that, all right? All right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Do you have any questions about the plea that has been entered in this particular case, Mr. Beebe? Anything you want me to answer?
No, sir.
All right. Are you otherwise satisfied with the advice and counsel of your attorney, Mr. Partridge?
Yes, sir.
All right. And do you have any questions about any of the indictment or any of the plea documents that you have been asked or have been presented to you?
No, sir.
All right. And do you give this, let me just ask you this one more time. As to counts 1, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 27, and 28, how do you plead to these particular counts under the indictment as they pertain to you?
Guilty.
And you give this guilty plea freely and voluntarily, means your own decision to enter a plea this afternoon?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And sir, then I find that based upon the responses that you've given in the colloquy in this case and the court's questioning of you, that your pleas are freely and voluntarily entered. I find a factual basis. I'm going to go ahead and accept your pleas as tendered and negotiate, sentence you to the as indicated. You're 23 years old. You've had enough trial in your life at this point in time. Would you agree?
Yes.
Time to have a little testimony. Time to reclaim your own life, and that you can do in this case, or if you just separate yourself from the people that you've been hanging out with. Find some new friends. Find some new people that are going to be positive in your life, and if they don't add to your life, then you need to cut them loose, because that's the way you'll be able to have a decent life, and a life where you won't have to worry about somebody doing this all the time, knocking on your door trying to find you for some other reason, or also put your life at risk. So just something to think about, okay? But do you have any other questions of me?
No, sir.
All
Thank
right, young man, then that's that.
All right, so I'm going to explain the sentence here. All right.
Hi, this is Mark Barton at Sandy Hook Promise in Newtown, Connecticut.
Bro,
And
man,
hi, this is Nicole Hockley also
bro took a plea to
from Sandy Hook Promise.
bro took a plea to 2 5-year sentences. He took this plea to 2 5-year sentences, whereas though everything else he took a plea to is going to run concurrent. So he took a 5-year plea to one charge at the beginning, and the judge said a few of the other charges were 2-year pleas and probation, and then 10-year suspended pleas with 5 years probation. And then he took a plea, I guess, to the racketeering to 5 years to go consecutive. So that's 10 years. And I don't know how the Georgia system works, whereas though how much time he has to do on those 10 years before he's eligible for parole, but the judge said he will be eligible for parole, whatever the system has their guidelines. But on this situation here, he's 23, so he'll be out by when he's 30, his early 30s. But what is not told to the youngins is when you get out in the streets, you're trying to evade the law, but you don't know the law. So you get out here with no knowledge of the law. You have no knowledge of the law at all. At all. You know nothing about the law. All you know is don't get caught. You commit these crimes that you don't benefit at all. you get hood recognition, whereas though the people in the hood associate you with the gang you're claiming, but when the gang falls, it doesn't mean anything. You gain nothing. The judge tried to explain to him that you have an opportunity to get your life together. You have a chance, which some other people in the situation don't have the opportunity, and they're not going to get the opportunity because their goal is to stick it to these people so that it can show an example. You got to appreciate your freedom. You can't think that you're going to terrorize your entire neighborhood with violence as of robberies and killing people, and you think that they're going to give you a break. This guy here got a major break. He got a major break, and he has to recognize that. The judge explained to him that if you go out there and carry a gun or violate this probation terms when you get out, you're going to have to come back in front of the judge or another judge, and they going to stick it to you. They banking on you to mess up. Most young people get out here in the streets and follow the things that they seen from other people. They follow the things that other people are telling them is the way to go. But they don't have no knowledge of what they're getting into. Nobody wants to take the time to educate themselves on the law. If you don't educate yourself on the law, then you're subjected to taking the offers that are in front of you. Or you put yourself on Front Street when you do these crimes, where you're automatically given a preponderant amount of evidence against yourself. So you have to think before you put yourself out in the streets. For the youngins, if you don't understand, go get a job, man. Go get a job, because most people that are out in the streets fucking around, they're not getting no money anyway. The people that's going to work are getting more money than the people that's out fucking around in the street with these petty ass crimes and this petty ass little drugs they have. Go get a job, man. Especially when you're young and you don't have all the responsibility. If you can get a job making a couple $100s a week, most people that's out there in the street, they got a pack or whatever, they don't even have that. Their pack costs $125 and they're fucking that up every night. They don't get a chance to save any money. It makes no sense. You got to weigh your options out here. Follow a different lead. If the man with the most money is sending you on a crash course and you don't have no money and you got to commit violence to get money, that's the gang you shouldn't be in, man. I want y'all to leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, man. Let me know what you feel about the YSL gang. Everybody's saying free Thug, but it looks like Thug had everybody on a crash course. Nobody was getting no paper. Thug was the only one getting paper. Let me know what y'all think about this, man. Leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to grow. Your boy is growing. We on our way to 800 subscribers. I'm coming from the bottom. I'm keeping it real. Real talk. Check out the live content. All 100. And I'm going to get stronger, man. It's not about the setback. It's about the get